Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul, the podcast where we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to a woman's life, her health, and all aspects of navigating the midlife landscape. I'm your host, Susan Lopresti, and today I have a very special guest with me. I'm very excited. Her name is Linda Benz, and I want to tell you a little bit about Linda. For over 26 years, Linda has worked as a breakthrough energy expert, becoming a guiding light for those seeking clarity and empowerment. She has a very unique ability to interpret and unravel the subtle vibrations and energies within and around us. She is passionate about helping individuals tap into their unique energy blueprints to connect with their inner potential and harness the energy that shapes their lives in simple and practical ways. As an introverted, highly sensitive person and empath, Linda has experienced firsthand the difficulties of growing up as a person defined as too sensitive by a culture that does not value sensitivity. After facing significant personal challenges, including divorce and homelessness, Linda rebuilt her life through self-awareness and energy mastery. She now lives a fulfilling life with her loving husband of 31 years. Linda's mission is to empower heart-centered and high-sensory women professionals to fully realize their potential and achieve their dreams by accepting and embracing their uniqueness and finding what works for them when nothing else has. Linda is the author of 8 books on energy and loves finding energetic solutions to everyday challenges. So without further ado, Linda, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for inviting me to be here. It's my pleasure. Looking forward to it.
You're very welcome. Linda, let's start with the energy blueprint. So why is it crucial for personal and professional development?
Well, it's just like your fingerprint. We all have a unique energy blueprint, and what that's just made up of every aspect of who you are. So yes, you have a personality type. So you could be an introvert or an extrovert, for example, or you have maybe you love high sort of energy activities, or maybe you're more of a quiet kind of person who likes to be in nature, for example. So all of that talks about your energy, sort of sums you up as who you are as an energetic being, and we kind of understand that. But there's so much more that goes to make up who we are in terms of energy. So there's how you grew up and the conditioning that you received, which formed the beliefs that you have. All of that is energy it's running through you and dictating how you show up in your life. So if you have a belief, for example, that you'll never be good enough, that will energetically show up in everything that you do and how you present yourself to the world. So there's the conditioning and the beliefs that we received through our childhood and through all our past experiences. Then there's the emotional experiences that we've had, how we navigate those emotional experiences. So if something happens and it triggers an unpleasant emotion in us, that is part of your energy blueprint. And then there's ancestral energy, the energy of the people who came before you in your family. There's collective energy, the energy of the world and everything that's happening globally, and how deeply that affects you, because the more sensitive you are, the more connected you will be to that. There's the energy of your environment that impacts you as well. There's so many things that go to make up your energetic blueprint. And the thing is, the more you understand that, the more you know it, the more in control of your life you can be, and the less you'll find experiences coming up that really sort of knock you off your center. So understanding your energy blueprint, understanding how to master your energy, that really, I think, is the key to fulfillment, to really living a life that you deserve to live, because most of us are not doing that.
Yeah, right.
So it's everything for me. It's understanding your energy is truly life-changing.
So basically, it's empowering you on a daily level once you have this understanding of what your energy blueprint is all about. I would
It
imagine.
is, and
Yeah.
it's something that's constantly changing. So as you change and grow, the way you use your energy will change. So if, for example, if I have the belief, which I did have, of I'm not good enough, right, or I'm not lovable, then if I work on that, if I know that and I work on releasing that belief, then that will start to shift how I show up in the world. So you know, a number of years ago, I would never have been able to do something like this, to be able to talk to someone like you about not only my experiences, but anything really, because I was too afraid. I was too, I didn't want to be out there in front of people. I like to be in the background. So that's an example of how your energy changes, right? So understanding your energy blueprint and how it's affecting you, how certain things are affecting you, then when you start to change your energy, you have an even greater understanding of how different things affect you. And the goal is always to raise our energy vibration, because the higher our vibration is, the healthier we are, the happier we are, the more fulfilled we are, the more we attract to us people and situations that are of the same vibration and continue to take us higher. And that's really the goal.
So how do you begin to raise your energy higher?
Well, it starts with awareness. Everything starts with awareness. So, for example, let's say somebody says something to me or doesn't invite me to something, and this is an example. And then I take that very personally and I'm hurt and I'm angry about that. Why do they always ignore me? You know, when I do everything for everybody and they forget about me, you know, those kinds of things. Instead of doing that, if instead I say, okay, that happened, they're going to this event and they haven't invited me. What has that triggered in me? What can I learn about myself from this situation, from how I feel? So rather than feeling like a victim, like they did this to me and now I'm unhappy, instead you say, oh, okay, this has triggered something in me, and now I have an opportunity to work through this so that I'm letting something, some old conditioning and something that doesn't serve me, I'm letting that go. And then when you work through that energy and come out on the other side of it, those kind of situations either won't happen anymore, or if they do, they're not going to upset you.
Right.
Because you've shifted your vibration. So part of it is seeing everything as an opportunity to raise your vibration, to learn something about yourself, especially the things that are uncomfortable and painful. Those are the best and biggest and best opportunities for us to learn something and make a shift, right?
Very
So
interesting.
one of the things I've learned to do is if there's something that's really painful and I'm really feeling it and it's very hard to let it go, I'll say to myself, I know at some point I get to be grateful for this. I don't know what it is yet, but I get to be grateful for it. So I'm willing to look for what it's telling me about myself. And always, once I get whatever it is, I don't need situations like that anymore. So it's such an empowering way of being. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I have to try that because I'm the opposite a lot of times, where you were saying that you keep going over it in your mind and you become the victim. And when you take a step back from that and look at it, what is it that I need to learn from these feelings?
Yes.
You finally like cut the cord to those feelings at some point then.
Yes. In
Yeah.
fact, some of my clients laugh at me because, when one of my clients is going through something that's particularly painful, and maybe there are floods of tears and it's really emotional, I'm thrilled. I'm really happy. And that's because I know what's on the other side of this. I know that they are now ready to let go of whatever this is that's coming up. That's why I get excited and happy for them, because once they've worked through it, as painful as it is in the moment, they will make such great progress. That's when they'll have a breakthrough. And I know they're ready for it.
Right. So what are some of the major elements that constitute the energy blueprint?
Okay, so I've talked about, a couple of them, sort of just understanding who you are as a person. But so things that we don't often think about that influence us are, the ancestral energy. I think that's becoming more and more known. Not that I'm an expert in ancestral energy specifically, but the more sensitive you are, and as a highly sensitive person myself, I've gone into this kind of very deeply because I've learned how these things affected me. So, for example, within your family, if there was trauma and struggle within your family, very often as a child, if you're a very highly sensitive person, you take on energetically the responsibility for that. And somehow you feel like you're trying to help the family by taking that on. And it can go even further back than that. It can go back through, if there's been struggles in your family through generations, very often the more sensitive you are, the more you come in with that energy. And why that's important is because sometimes you might find that you've been doing the inner work. I know I've been doing everything right, and I'm still stuck in the same place. I can't seem to let go of this thing that, I'm holding on to, and no matter what I do. When somebody tells me that, the first thing I start to look at is ancestral energy. And then we have to clear that. Once we clear the ancestral energy, then they can start to work on their own stuff. Because if you don't know what it is, if you don't know that you've taken on something that isn't yours,
Right.
it's really hard to let it go. So when you feel like you're not making any progress, even though you're doing everything right, that's usually a signal to me that's ancestral energy. And then there's environmental energy. So I love to work with the energy in your environment because that's impacting us all the time. And using your environment is a wonderful way to help you shift your vibration, because you are so connected to the energy in your home. It is a reflection of you and everything that's going on in your life. So you can look at the energy in your home and you can say, okay, that's representing what's going on in my finances or with my relationships or with my health. And then you can start to change the energy in your environment in very simple ways. And once you change that energy, then it starts to have a positive impact on you. You start to see results showing up in your life. It's fantastic. It's an amazing tool for people to start to see energy shifts very quickly.
So I'm thinking feng shui here.
Yes.
We talking feng shui?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's say someone is always struggling with money. It's been an issue from being responsible for their own finances. Do we look at like a section of your home that may be cluttered, or what is it that you're looking for to clear?
So if we're looking at your environment, the first thing I would always look at is clutter, because getting rid of stuff is one of the best and easiest things you can do to open up energy, to clear away old energy, to open up the energy for new things to come into your life. Then yes, there is, so we use an energetic map called a Bagua map. So it's basically, we divide your home up into 9 equal areas. So if you're looking at the floor plan, we kind of just divide it up. And then we look to see, okay, there's an area for wealth, there's an area for relationships, there's an area for health, there's one for creativity. So all of these areas. So the second thing I would do is to look for what is in your area of wealth and what's happening there. So for example, it could be a bathroom. So if you have a bathroom that's in the area of wealth, that's an immediate challenge, because energetically speaking, water represents money, abundance, the flow of life, if you like. And so what's happening to that in the bathroom is it's draining away. And so when that, especially when that is in your area of wealth, it can symbolize money draining away, you never being able to hold on to it, if you like. So I would want to look at what kinds of things can I do in that bathroom. Maybe I could add some plants to the bathroom. Maybe I could bring in some more of the earth element to that bathroom. Maybe I could bring in some rich colors, beautiful picture or a beautiful ornament or something that really lifts the energy of that bathroom. I've worked with people who have businesses where in their wealth area is a bathroom, which is one of the worst things for a business, right? And I'm thinking of one person in particular, and she's an accountant, and she just made her bathroom so beautiful. I mean, you'd walk in there and you say, oh my goodness, this is just so wonderful. You know, it was very opulent and just felt really, really nice. And that's what you would want to do, create that sort of energy in that space. Then the third thing I would probably do is I would look at your bedroom, your personal bedroom. Now, it might be that your bedroom is in the wealth area, in which case we would be working with it anyway. But the reason for the bedroom is because it is the room that is closest to you. So therefore, it has the biggest impact on you, where you spend a lot of time and where you sleep. So when you sleep, you're at your most vulnerable, really. So I would look at that space and see, what does that look like? How is that space affecting you? How do you feel in your bedroom? Because ideally, whether it's in the wealth area or not, you would want it to feel really good to you and represent who you are and feel like your personal sanctuary. For example, let's say you've been through a really bad divorce, right? Now you're living on your own. But in your bedroom, you still have furniture that you had when you were married. I would highly encourage you, as a priority, as soon as you can, get that furniture out of there, because it's representing that old relationship that you have. So it's stopping you from being able to really move forward in life. So that's an example of the kinds of things you can do. Right. But it's about paying attention to the space and what does it feel like, and how is it affecting me, and how is it representing these different parts of my life, and then how can I change that if I need to.
Right. I also heard for the bedroom that you should not have anything underneath your bed.
Ideally, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
You don't want to store anything underneath your bed. Now, of course, people sometimes have beds that have drawers underneath for storage.
Yes.
And if that is the case, or sometimes people live in a small apartment and they have to use underneath the bed for storage, in which case I would just say, just make sure it's really organized, very neat, and just do the best you can with that. Okay. But generally speaking, no, you don't really want to store things under the bed, because again, you're lying on top of that, you know, symbolically. And so whatever energy is there, if there is cluttered energy, chaotic energy underneath the bed, that is influencing you. Right.
That's so interesting. I took a class on feng shui years ago, and it was incredible. I love that. I really do. Let's talk about collective energy now.
Yes, yes.
So global events, and you know, especially when this airs, the election will already be over. But right now, we're a few days away from the election, and you could feel the energy is so dense. So talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, well, exactly. We can feel the energy. And again, if you're a very sensitive person and very in tune with energy, whether you're aware of that or not, it can have a bigger impact on you than many other people. So much so that sometimes people just feel paralyzed, or they feel that it's so negative, you know, that they just can't get it out of their minds. They can't stop thinking about it and worrying about it, and what are we going to do, and what's going to happen, and they feel it. They start to feel it physically. It affects their everyday life. They can't function really at their best because it is so overwhelming to them. It's all consuming. So when somebody feels that way, you really have to look at that connection with collective energy, and how do you, it's not about ignoring what's going on or pretending it's not happening or trying to be positive when everything's falling apart around you. It's not that at all.
Right.
It's acknowledging, okay, yes, this is happening. And is there anything I can do about it in this moment? And if there is, great, I'll go and do that. And if there isn't, what you don't want to do is stay stuck in that. You want to know how to release that energy from you so that you're aware of what's going on, but it's not having such a devastating effect on you, so that you can put your energy into what will serve you and not let this pull you down.
So how would be an example of releasing the energy? What would a person do for that?
Well, sometimes it can be as simple as setting an intention. This is the way I do it.
Okay.
So I can remember, for example, I have a very deep connection with animals. I'm very closely connected with animals. And I remember somebody was showing me a video once, something going around on social media. And it was, I don't know, some wildlife thing. And it was about these birds that when the chicks are born, they're on top of a cliff, this really high cliff, and they have to throw themselves off, and sometimes they survive, but many don't. And it just felt so painful to me. As I said, I couldn't watch the rest of it. I just felt it just really hurt me. And then I realized, okay, so first is recognizing what it is. I recognized that the energy of that was affecting me very, very deeply. And I can't let it do that, right? So I just really set an intention. So awareness is the first thing. And then I set an intention that I am not responsible for that energy. I can be aware of it, but I'm not going to let it consume me and overwhelm me. So I can have empathy, I can feel for these things, but I don't have to let it consume me, because there's nothing I can do about it. What can I do? Nothing. But if I don't recognize it and I don't set an intention to not let it affect me, then it will just continue to affect me. So it's really about setting an intention. If that doesn't work for you, another thing you could do is maybe a meditation where you visualize yourself. It could be just disconnecting. Maybe you imagine unplugging. That's something I do sometimes. You imagine the collective energy of the election, let's say. I'm going to visualize myself unplugging from that. So I pull the plug. I am no longer connected to it. All right. So it's going on. I'm aware of it, but it's not affecting me. That can be another way to do it. If you're good at visualization, you might, again, imagine, kind of the energy of whatever it is, say the election, imagine putting that into a white bubble of light or something, and visualize that just kind of being taken away from you. So that's the key, is you want it taken away from you.
Right. Also, probably staying away from the news.
Oh, yes, that goes without saying. I cannot watch the news. I haven't watched the news for years. Now, I do read headlines. I try to keep up with what's going on. But no, I don't watch the news. I can't. It's too much.
Yes, I feel that way as well. I do. I feel that way as well. So we talked about the environment. So how does that contribute to your energy blueprint?
Well, two ways. One of it, it's a reflection of you and everything that's going on with you. So, for example, if you say to me, "Oh gosh, I feel so scattered. I'm running here, there, and everywhere, and I'm pulled in multiple directions, and I just feel exhausted all the time," it's highly likely that in your home I might find at least one area that's very cluttered and chaotic. Right. And it's kind of one feeds the other. So it's a reflection of that chaos that's going on in your life, but also it's contributing to that. So in terms of how it's affecting your energy, the more cluttered your environment, for example, the more that's going to have a chaotic effect on your energy. And the more cluttered it is, the more overwhelmed you will feel energetically. And you might say to yourself, oh, I know I need to organize that. I need to throw stuff out. I need to do something about that. But then you don't have the energy to do it. And then it just kind of builds and builds. So that is something that's affecting your energy all the time, right? So the more aware you are of your environment and the more you pay attention to ensuring that the energy is supporting you there, the more that's going to help you raise your vibration. So it's part of your energy. It's one of the things that can be changed the quickest and bring about raising a higher vibration more quickly than just about anything else. But yes, so it's part of who you are. We think of ourselves very often as separate from our environment and from the things we have around us. So another example is everything you have around you has energy, and it is also connected to you. It is alive with your memories and associations. So, when you have ornaments or pictures or furniture or whatever it is, that not only has its own energy, but it has a connection to you in some way. So if you look at something and you can ask, well, what was going on in my life when I got this? Where did it come from? How do I feel about it? Does it remind me of somebody who treated me badly, perhaps? Does it have really good memories and associations? Because the things that we surround ourselves with have energy, and that is affecting us all the time. So once again, it's a being aware of what you're surrounding yourself with, energetically speaking.
Yes, very good. So how can we identify and cultivate our unique energetic strengths and our gifts? And how do we know, some people really don't even know, what is my gift? How do you connect with that?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Many people think they don't have any gifts, but we all do. And the thing is, we think we don't have them because they're so natural to us, right? It is so natural, we don't even think about them. It always amazes me when I start working with someone and I'm asking them about themselves and what they've accomplished or what they feel good about in their lives. And sometimes they'll say, well, not much. And then as we get talking, I start to hear about all these things they've done. And I think, oh my gosh, you're brilliant. What do you mean you have no gifts? So we all have them. It's all, again, self-awareness. So you have to commit to knowing yourself and being willing to learn about yourself. Just as we talked earlier about when something happens, instead of saying this is something that's happening to me, you can say, what do I need to learn about myself from this? Right? So something might be teaching you that you've got anger that may come from childhood, and that anger is now coming up ready for you to release it. Right? So that's something you're learning about yourself. So it's a commitment to self-awareness. It's paying attention. So I created, one of the books I created is a journal, and it's, see if I can get it down without everything falling down. Right. And it's a know yourself journal. And it's, what I call it is a noticing notebook. It's about noticing everything. So how do you feel? Something happens, what does it trigger in you? As you're going throughout your day, if you wake up in the morning and you feel great, you're going about your day, and then something, all of a sudden you notice you're not feeling good anymore. Notice that. What happened? What was triggered there? What is it that I'm feeling? You have to start to notice everything, and paying attention to, see, I think we have this guidance system. It's called our body and our emotions. And so anytime you don't feel good, it's like your body is telling you something. Pay attention. You need to look at this. And if you don't pay attention, I'm sure many listeners will identify with this. If you don't pay attention and you continue to not pay attention, then the things that happen to you or around you will get stronger and stronger and stronger. More and more and more things will happen. It's like, I've heard people say, the universe first taps you on the shoulder, and then, and then it slaps you in the face. So if you don't pay attention, you'll stay stuck in situations and things will continue to grow. So it's about developing that willingness to know yourself. and paying attention to everything. This is happening. I don't feel good. What does that mean for me? What can I learn from this so that I can move on? And then, there are tools out there. There's so many tools to help us understand ourselves. Some of the ones I like in particular are the Enneagram, because that's really, that really shows you on an energy level. My sun's coming out now. I might have to pull the blind down. It shows you who you are on an energetic level. So for example, how is that helpful? So on the Enneagram, there are 9 different personality types. And it shows you what does a healthy version of that personality type look like, and what does an unhealthy version of that look like. So for example, I'm a 2, which is the helper personality. So an unhealthy version of that is where you feel, as a 2, feel responsible for everybody else, and you feel you need to fix what other people's problems. I've had that. That's very unhealthy, because often I would try to help other people at the expense of myself. So when you understand that and you see what the unhealthy version looks like, then you work towards the healthy version, which would be, I love helping people and I'm very good at it, but I don't jump in and try to help them when they haven't asked me to, or I'm not trying to fix things for people, and I don't feel responsible for fixing things for people. I'm only responsible to myself. But yes, I have this ability to help. So the Enneagram is a great tool. Another one I like is human design. That again shows you from an energy perspective, I would say spiritual and energetic perspective, who you really are and how you use your energy. And it's great for showing us how we can give our power away, our energy away very often. An example of that would be in the human design, I'm a manifesting generator. Now, for manifesting generators, they've been described as like kind of the racing car, where you're at the start line and you're sort of revving the engine ready to go. It's like you have this creative energy, which I do. I have creative energy, and the challenge is we can put that creative energy into anything, and some things can come along and you think, oh, that sounds great. Yes, I want to do that. And oh, I have this idea, and let me go and do that. And you start to do it, but it may not really be the best use of your energy. And before long, you find yourself being burned out, exhausted, that it's affecting you in a not very great way. Mm-hmm. And so I had to really learn to pause. So when an idea came up or somebody asked me to be involved with something, I would have to give myself time to really sit with that, because initially I might think, yes, I want to do that. Then as I sit with it and I ask myself, is this something I really want to put my energy into? Very often the answer is no. And so now I'm able to see that and to stop myself putting my energy into things that are not the right thing for me or someone else. Yeah. So it's really helped me to understand how to use my energy more effectively and to stop giving it away. My mantra has become, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Mm-hmm. So that really helped me to stop wasting my energy there. So those are 2 really key tools. I think that those 2, along with feng shui, really give you a good picture of what's going on for you energetically. Mm-hmm. And what you're putting your energy into, what's serving you, what isn't, and how to start making some changes. But even without those tools, the key is to pay attention to how you feel. And if you don't feel good, something is off. And so self-inquiry, start looking at, what is it I'm feeling? What is it I'm supposed to learn from this? When you're willing to ask those questions and to learn whatever it is, that's going to empower you to raise your vibration, to move beyond whatever is upsetting you, challenging you, whatever it is. So this is the beginning point. It's really about understanding yourself in as many ways as you can. And every interaction, particularly the difficult ones or the difficult situations you find yourself in, those are opportunities for you to learn something about yourself, right? And the more you learn, the more you are able to use your energy more effectively. One example for me was it took me a long time to learn not to put everybody else's needs before my own. And I had a situation several years ago where I was helping somebody create something, get something started. And I got a group of people together and we got the whole thing started. And I had said right from the beginning, I'm only going to stay in this until we get it to the level where it's really going. And then I'll step away, because it's not my thing. It's, you know, I can help you get it going, but I don't want to stay beyond that. And so when that happened, when we got to that point where it was time for me to step away, all the other group members were saying, oh, you can't go. What are we going to do? We don't know how to do it without you, and all of this. And I allowed myself to be persuaded, even though I knew it wasn't right for me. That was really hard, because there were a hard few years then where I felt kind of stuck in that situation and didn't feel I could walk away. But having said that, it was a real lesson for me. And after that situation, I said, I will never ignore my own intuition again. Right. So sometimes we learn the hard way, right? But we don't have to learn the hard way. Right. I already knew I wasn't supposed to do that. Right. And yet I did it anyway, right, because I put other people's needs before my own. Yeah.
And we do that as women a lot. It's something that most women do. I want to go back to human design, because I was in a class and we did human design, and you said that you were a
manifesting generator.
I believe that that's what I ended up being as well. So I did it online. There was a website that I went to. I don't recall what it is, but if you do, I'd like for you to tell the listeners about that, or how they could get more information about that.
I can't remember the specific website, but there is a website. If you just Google human design chart,
yes,
there are a number of sites that offer a free chart, and you will need to enter in your birth date, and time and location, and you will receive a free chart.
Yes.
I will encourage you, though. I will say that it won't make much sense to you. Yes, there might be some written things that can help you. It's a very complex system. I am not an expert in human design at all. I incorporate it into my programs because it's so useful, but I have a human design coach who will walk people through their chart, so that they understand what it means for them. Because otherwise it's just a nice chart and, you know, some kind of helpful information, but you don't really know what to do with it. So it's really helpful to talk to someone who knows how to interpret it for you and how to walk you through it.
Right.
But you can just go online and get a free chart. Yes.
Yeah, I believe I did. I did that. I was in a program and they talked about it, and they sent us that there was a link, a specific link, but it's been a while, so I'm not really sure. So I wanted to also mention to the listeners that you have a personal energy assessment, and I have the link and I will put it in the show notes. And it also includes a short video review of the results. So I found that to be interesting. I'm going to do it for myself as well. But also, Linda, you had mentioned to me that you were launching an Unstoppable program in January. So I wanted you to talk about that for a moment.
Okay. As I mentioned before, I've done as a manifesting generator, I have lots of ideas and I do lots of things and create lots of things. And a couple of years ago, I sort of felt intuitively I needed to step back and stop and just kind of review. And what came out of that was the knowing, if you like, that what I needed to do was create a really core, in-depth program that will take people right from where they are now to where they want to be in the way that's right for them, that has the flexibility to be able to work with each individual person and find what they need. And if I don't have what they need, then find someone who does have what they need and provide that for them. So I call it my Unstoppable You program. And I'm going to be starting it in January. And what I will be doing is looking for a core group of about 5 people who will be the founding members, if you like, founders circle, to go through the program, so that will help me to make sure that I've got everything in place and it's going to work. So it's going to help me test the specific, like technical stuff and, you know, all the specifics of it. As part of that, they do get a human design chart and a consultation with a coach. They do get an Enneagram reading and with a coach as well. They do also get a feng shui consultation from me, and they get group coaching, individual coaching. It's just got everything you could possibly need, and people can do it at their own pace. My one and only goal with the program is that each participant achieves the results that they want in the way that's right for them. And so it's really teaching them all of these things, the level of self-awareness that they need, what they need to release, which will happen naturally as they learn more about themselves. And it's really about bringing them into alignment with who they really are and what's for their highest, best good in their life.
It sounds wonderful. Now, do you have a link or something that they could go to that I could put in the notes, because I don't see it here?
Yeah, no, I don't have a link for that yet because I
Yeah.
haven't started yet. But here's what I would say. Start with the personal energy assessment,
Okay.
because that will help you and it will help me to see where you are. Because all that does is it just lists every area of life, your finances, your relationships, your family life, your health, all those things, and asks you to rate where you feel you are, you know, whether I'm a 10 in the area of finances, my finances are really healthy and great, or are you down at a 1 where you think, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent this week, you know? So for each of those items, it asks you to rate yourself. And then at the end of it, you can see, it just gives you a picture of how you're using your energy now, what areas could use a little more help. So that will help you see, that will help me see. From that assessment, I'll look at it and I'll do a little video for each person, and I'll walk through what they've sent me in terms of the assessment. And if they want, I will at that point invite them to do a follow-up call if they need it. If they don't need it, there's no, you know, but there's no need to. But if they want to and they're ready to do something and move forward, I'll invite them to have a call with me. We'll talk through their results. And if the Unstoppable You program seems like it would be ideal for them, and if they want to hear more about it, that's at that point, then we will talk about it. And if they want to apply, they can do that. But it's really going to be, I want to be very certain that the people who come through it are ready, because we are really going to dive deep into your emotions, into your conditioning, into your beliefs. And sometimes it will be uncomfortable, but I'm always there to hold your hand and get you through it. But I want to make sure you're ready for that and you are aware of what you're going to be signing up for, if you like.
Right.
You'll have all the support that you need, but that's why I like to talk to people before I know whether they're ready to apply.
Okay. Sounds great. It sounds great. Any final thoughts that you want to leave my listeners with?
I just want to say you are, whatever is going on in your life, sometimes people come and they've just got 1 or 2 sort of issues, and sometimes people feel their whole life is falling apart. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You have the power to change anything, any situation. And you can do that by working on your energy, by understanding yourself and by changing your energy and how you are responding to life. And then life will change how it's responding to you. You change your energy, the situations around you will change. And you have that power. And the way to start using it is to start becoming more aware of who you are at the deepest levels and paying attention to what triggers you, and learn what you can, be willing to learn what you can from that. You have so much untapped potential. We all do. And so you can start tapping into that a little bit with self-awareness.
Wow, I love that. Linda, this was fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I'm
Thank you
sure
so much.
my listeners will get a ton of greatness out of this episode. So I truly appreciate you for coming on, for sharing all of your knowledge that I just held on to every word that you were saying. And so much of what you did say resonated with me and my own personal situation. So I appreciate you coming on. And I just want my listeners to know I will put all of Linda's information. Your books are available on Amazon?
Some of them are. I mean, the best way is to go to my website, and there's a tab called books. There's a link for books, and you can go on there and you can see all of the books. And if there's one you're interested in, just click on the button. And if it's on Amazon, it will take you straight to Amazon. And if it's
Okay.
available somewhere else, it will take you to wherever you can order it.
Linda, what is your website address?
It's lindabins.com.
Oh, easy, easy
Easy.
peasy, lindabins.com. Okay, excellent. I will also put that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Linda. It was a pleasure to have you, and I would love for you to come on again.
Susan, I would be delighted to come on again. As you can tell, I get excited talking about this because I
Yes,
know it's possible for people.
yes.
So thank you so much
You're
for having me.
welcome. You're
Okay.
welcome.